Hello my friends and welcome to Solasta 2. Hope you're all doing well. This is a new Dungeons & Dragons RPG, just like Baldur's Gate 3, and I really enjoyed the first Solasta. I've recommended it many times, so I've been extremely excited for Solasta 2 to release as well. It just launched into early access today, and I've deliberately avoided looking at any previews or anything, so we'll be going in completely blind, and I'll give you my first impressions of the game. We'll check out the character creation and see how deep and intricate it is, and whether you can make fun, exciting builds in this game, and how good the gameplay is, and overall just whether we are going to get yet another awesome D&D game. I should mention that this video is not sponsored or anything like that. I bought this game with my own money and all that, so you'll be getting my unvarnished opinions. And other than that, let's dive in and check out Solasta 2. One thing I did want to mention, though, is just looking at the settings menu, the difficulty is very granular. One of the things that I really want to look for in general in a game is how good the settings menu is, especially for a PC game. And this one has all the things that you would expect. The difficulty settings are quite granular. The karmic dice setting, which I'll be turning off as soon as I am allowed to. And we also have the ability to hide helmets, which is kind of a basic for a game in 2026. All of the other settings menu options are exactly as you would hope for video and audio and interface controls. So very promising start to get a good settings menu. That is an early hurdle at which a lot of games fall down. All right, let's get right into it. So we have new adventure, the Mark of Maraiki. We are on authentic difficulty mode, so this is the rules as written. And we can, I believe... Okay, so we can select multiple campaigns. In the first game, there were user-made campaigns were available as well. There was a whole setup to create your own campaigns. So I expect that in Solasta 2, there will also be extensive modder support to make their own stories and campaigns. But this is the only one available currently in early access. Let's go ahead and create our party. So, in Solasta, you create all of your party at the start of the game. You actually have granular control over every party member in your party, rather than creating one avatar and filling it out with NPCs. So, we're going to be making 4 characters for our party. Now, I believe that not every class is currently available in early access, and these options will get expanded as we go, but let's see what is, because that was true in the first game as well. Let's see what is available now. Alright, so we have the option to do quick creation, advanced creation, or select a pre-made character. Let's go ahead and go to advanced creation. So yeah, it looks like we've got 6 classes available currently. We can, of course, play a cleric, fighter, paladin, rogue, sorcerer, or wizard, and we're going to make 4 of these classes, or we could presumably make a duplicate. One thing I'm noticing that's kind of interesting is they have the complexity rating here for each of these characters, and I'm noticing that they've listed sorcerer as the most complex character and more complex than wizard, which is interesting. Typically, I think in D&D, people consider wizard to be more complicated than sorcerer because you have to prepare your spells. So it's interesting that they've said that sorcerer is the most advanced and complex, and wizard is intermediate alongside paladin and cleric. Rogues and fighters being relatively not as complex makes a lot of sense to me, but just an interesting thing that I'm noticing here. So let's start with our first character. I think we're gonna go with they say sorcerer is the most complex character, so let's figure out why that is, and we'll play a sorcerer. Just looking at the sorcerer options, it doesn't look like there is anything that majorly differs from what sorcerers normally get. So let's go ahead and select this. And our sorcerer could be a dwarf, elf, halfling, or human. I think we'll make our rogue a halfling, because I'm going to take a rogue as well. I'll have a paladin, so we're just going to go with... I think a human paladin. And so, you know what? Let's make a dwarven sorcerer. That's fun. Plays against type a little bit. So we can set edit appearance and identity, so we can set our body shapes. So we basically have, just looks like 2 body types. We've got some preset heads, or we can do custom values for the heads currently. Like how this okay, so we can do various shapes. Let's give our guy like a really weird lumpy face. Perfect. And various skin tone and skin types and everything like that. So great. We can also do more granular customization. So in the first Solasta, there was very little granular cosmetic customization of your characters. So I like seeing that that's available as well. We're going to be a dwarven sorcerer. I'm just going to go with kind of basic appearances. I'm not going to do too much playing around with the appearances for most of the characters, just so we can get into the meat of the gameplay faster. Though later on, I'll mess around with the visuals a little bit more. Okay, so we have our classic backgrounds here. For our sorcerer, we get Arcana and History. So I want something that gives us some dialogue skills, probably. And we also have tool proficiencies as well. Tool proficiencies are really interesting because that means that there are likely to be kind of non-combat money-making adventures that we can do in the game, which is a fun thing to do, and something that Baldur's Gate kind of left out of the Dungeons and Dragons experience. So it's kind of neat to see that represented. We also get Magic Initiate Wizard as an origin feat here, so we could learn some wizard cantrips if we went with Academic. Magic Initiate Cleric, we could get the Skilled feat as an Aristocrat and get Insight and Persuasion. So if we want our Sorcerer to be our main party face, then Aristocrat is pretty nice as well. We also improve our ability scores with these background feats. I'm not as familiar with 2024 D&D. I believe that these are the backgrounds that are added in 2024. I haven't played as much of the newest edition. So if this is stuff that is like straight from tabletop, then I may not be as familiar with it, or if it's something that's made up specifically for Solasta. So improve ability scores. Well, obviously I want to improve my charisma, so we could be a lowlife, an occultist. This looks pretty good. We get scroll kit, we get wizard, we could get skilled, ready for war. Proficiency with light armor and shields is pretty nice for a sorcerer. So this is kind of cool. Like a wizard who's a sellsword with an intelligence and constitution boost, and then light armor and shield proficiency is actually kind of a nice option. Vigilant. Gain proficiency in perception. If you already are proficient, you gain expertise in perception instead. Pretty nice as well. The spy, you get perception and deception. And the wanderer, we could get savage attacker. Okay, so once per turn. So savage attacker in this game is only once per turn. When you hit a target with a weapon, you roll the weapon's damage dice twice and use the best roll against the target. Alright, so as an artist, we would get dexterity and charisma. As an aristocrat, we would get constitution and charisma, as well as some good skills. And we get a private letter as a starting, as some starting equipment. Let's make our dwarf sorcerer an aristocrat. Okay, so obviously we have the standard D&D ability scores. I'm going to hit auto and see what it tends to recommend here. It's obviously giving us too much intelligence for a sorcerer, so we're going to go ahead and dump that. And then we're going to have 15 starting charisma, so we get our additional bonuses added later. Is that how that works? Let's go with 15 dexterity and 14 constitution, and then 10 wisdom. Because I'm not entirely sure where we're getting our later bonuses, or if that's coming from our background, we're getting +1 to Constitution and Charisma. So is this going to give us odd numbers in the end? Okay, yeah, so we can improve our Charisma by up to 2 here, or we can improve our Constitution up to 16 with our subsequent bonuses. So we can get 16, 16, 16 as our ability scores, and then 10 Wisdom. A little bit of a different system than D&D 5th edition. And then for our proficiencies, we are going to go ahead and take Deception, and how about we're already proficient in Persuasion, so we'll get just all of the dialogue skills. Then, oh, okay, languages are a thing in this game as well. That's kind of cool. So I can be a dwarf who doesn't know Dwarfish. That's neat. I wonder if our dwarf grew up isolated from the dwarven community and doesn't speak Dwarvish. Let's say we speak... let's just say we speak Elvish and Dwarvish. Those seem most likely to come up in-game, though I'll definitely want somebody who speaks Draconic and probably someone who speaks Goblin as well, just because in my experience in D&D games, those things will tend to come up. Okay, and then we get additional skill proficiencies from the Skilled feat, because we're an aristocrat. Right, so I had 15 dexterity, so if I go back to my ability scores here... Yeah, so we need to do these in 2 stages. I will say I kind of dislike this interface, but I can do, for example, 14 dexterity and 12 wisdom, or I could boost my constitution, or I could go with 16 dex and 14 con. This game, I assume the initiative is rolled on a d20, unlike Baldur's Gate's d4 initiative system, so more constitution and less dexterity is going to usually be preferred. And then, okay, so we are now back to the Skilled feat. We don't currently have anyone who's good at any of the knowledge skills, though obviously we're just doing our very first character. Let's make our sorcerer good at stealth, because that's just kind of fun. And we'll do persuasion, or performance, and what else can I get an okay bonus to? How about acrobatics? Just to make sure that we don't get knocked over as a sorcerer. Obviously, I'm just picking stuff at this point. I don't know what optimal builds in Solasta are yet. Alright, so let's look at our cantrips. So, Acid Splash is the same as normal, though looking at the range here, so this is a 150-foot range on Acid Splash, which is incredibly far, so we can cast Acid Splash at a really long distance. 30-foot range on Poison Spray. Annoying Bees deals 1d4 piercing damage. The target also has disadvantage on concentration saves until the start of your next turn, and it is there no saving throw against this? It doesn't show a saving throw, whereas like these show this shows negated by a dexterity save for Acid Splash. Poison Spray, these must be attack rolls. Ray of Frost, yeah, so it's showing I'm pretty sure these are just attack rolls, and the target is hindered, so we're probably going to take a Ray of Frost. Chill Touch, 1d10 necrotic damage and prevent them from regaining hit points. Shadow Armor gives you 3 temp HP for 1 minute as a cantrip. This is kind of a nice bonus cantrip for a sorcerer. In the early game, this can help you avoid getting one-shot. Target is dazzled, so is there a way for me to... I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for me to check the tooltips here for more detailed tooltips. Dazzled, they can't take reactions until the start of their next turn. Shadow Dagger is 1d10 psychic negated by a wisdom save. It's interesting that it shows the range hit 30 feet. Yeah, it's interesting that it doesn't show that these are attack rolls anywhere, as far as I can tell, assuming that they are. I don't know what changes have been made for the game, of course. We've got Shocking Grasp. We have Light. We have Sorceress Burst. Deals 1d8 damage on hit. Deals 1d8 damage of your choice. So, okay. Oh, I see. Annoying Bees doesn't roll to hit, but these say on attack roll hit. That's what that die symbol is. So Annoying Bees is actually guaranteed damage, as far as I can tell. That's a very cool option to have. Sorceress Burst lets you do any damage type, which is kind of cool. And if you roll an 8 on the d8, you can roll another d8 and add it to the damage. Also very cool. So it has an exploding die mechanic. And then we have True Strike. Attack with your spell's casting weapon using your spellcasting ability for attack and damage rolls. On a hit, deals the damage type of your choice. Radiant or your weapon's damage type. So True Strike, this is the 2024 version of True Strike, which has been upgraded to make it do more damage. With basically, this is kind of like Booming Blade from Baldur's Gate, where it just does extra damage. Starting at 5th level, you get extra True Strike damage. So that'll be very good on any character that's making melee attacks. So I think here, sure, let's go Ray of Frost, Sorceress Burst. We'll go Annoying Bees, because anything that doesn't roll to hit is going to be really good. And then I'll take Shadow Armor, just to give myself a little bit of extra HP. For my level 1 spells, we have Burning Hand, we have False Life, Charm Person, of course. Now, Charm Person is maybe more interesting in this game than it is in Baldur's Gate. Featherfall, and this is activated, so Featherfall in this game is properly activated as a reaction instead of you having to cast it in advance, kind of a better way of implementing it. So if you start falling, you can use Featherfall. Chromatic Orb, of course, is always going to be very good. Ice Knife is always going to be very good, though presumably the slipping and falling surfaces are not the same as they are in BG3. Mage Armor, I'll usually want, especially because I didn't take the light armor proficiency for this character. We'll probably take Shield. Oh, we only get to learn 2 sorcerer spells at 1st level. So let's go with Ray of Sickness was moved to 2d8 damage, and they're poisoned. That's pretty good as a level 1 spell, I think. So we'll take, I think, just Magic Missile, and we'll go with Chromatic Orb for our sorcerer. And then we'll have some good damaging options. Alright, and save. And that is our first character creation completed. Alright, for character number 2, let's dive in and see what our options are. Do I want a fighter or a paladin for my frontliner here? We already have a charisma-based character in the form of the sorcerer, so we kind of have dialogue taken care of. So let's check out this game's implementation of a fighter. So we have basically all of the things that you would normally expect for a fighter. You have proficiency with all of the armor types and weapon types, and you have Second Wind, of course, to heal back up. And we'll be able to choose a fighting style as well. So at the beginning, you specialize in a fighting style, and these fighting styles are the same. We can... Okay, so great weapon fighting treats a 1 or a 2 as a 3 instead of re-rolling it. Shielding gives you a +2 bonus instead of disadvantage compared to Baldur's Gate 3. And 2 weapon fighting lets you add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. Alright, well, I'm probably just going to go with defense fighting style, because I think for this fighter, we're going to make them somewhat defensive. And we've got a dwarven sorcerer, so let's go with an elvish fighter. And we'll go with edit appearance. And can I do just some randomizing? Yeah, sure. So that's randomized body, and then we can do randomized face. Oh, I kind of like that you can have like blisters and stuff. That's kind of cool. And you can get a bunch of scars. There are different types of wrinkles as well, different types of freckles. You can mirror the freckles or not. I actually really like how detailed they probably want more options for things like these scars, like only 8 scars. You're gonna want more of these, but I really like how detailed the character creator is, just in terms of the possible aesthetics. And also, I also like that you can randomize the characters' stuff separately. A lot of games will not allow you to separately randomize different components of the character. I like how, okay, this is perfect. Our character looks truly ridiculous at this point. Oh, and you can set name, last name. So it looks like our characters all share a last name. I guess the storyline of this game is that we're part of a family. You can set personality types, and which will set their speech style and tone, as well as the type of answers they'll propose during interactive discussions with NPCs. You can set different voices, different pronouns as well. So cool. This is a pretty detailed character creator. Let's go to our, we did defense fighting style. We've decided to be an elf. We can select our elven lineage as well. So, as a high elf, we can gain spells at level 3 and 5, which you can cast once per long rest. And also cast a spell using any spell slots you have of the appropriate level. Cool. Whereas as a sylvan elf, I see. We get Firebolt cantrip as a high elf, and of course we get all of our elven abilities, no languages we know common, and we can learn some other languages. As a sylvan elf, we get additional proficiencies, and we learn Venomous Spike as a cantrip. Elves also, the Sylvan Elf gets high movement speed, so it's the Wood Elf. So we can increase our movement speed, always going to be good for a fighter. The sellsword background is less important for a fighter here. It's got good abilities, but you're kind of duplicating your proficiencies, so we probably would want something else. Let's look at what feats we might want. Savage Attacker is a pretty nice feat for any fighting character. Skilled is always going to be reasonable. Low Life. Origin feat Quick. Your speed increases by dollar distance 5. So 5 feet of movement speed. And opportunity attacks have disadvantage against you. So with a Wood Elf, we can have a 40-foot movement speed if we take Low Life as our background. Vigilant as our background would give us the ability to avoid surprise, and we gain perception. That's kind of nice as well. Robust is basically you get the tough feat, so extra hit points. You get additional healing from spending hit dice on healing, and you can stabilize more easily. Aristocrat is skilled, and then these are all the magic initiate feats. But let's make our fighter a low life. We can still improve our strength and dexterity, and then we also are able to get the quick feat. And we get Thieves' Tools and Sleight of Hand and Stealth. If we have kind of a higher dexterity fighter, then this is kind of nice as well. So maybe we'll just have 2 characters that are capable of lockpicking if I go with a rogue, or we can have this character be our only lockpicking character. So we're going to want probably to spend 2 points on strength and 1 point on dexterity with our extra attribute points. Get those both to 16, and then don't need the charisma on this character or the intelligence, but I definitely want at least 14 constitution, especially because our chosen background doesn't let us go up to 16 constitution. But this will be fine. We'll just have high initiative, high strength, and then I'll put my last points into wisdom to give myself a better wisdom save. And then let's go for 2 points in strength, 1 point in dexterity to even out our numbers here. We get our skill proficiencies, and we'll definitely take athletics, and I guess acrobatics as well for this character, and just be pretty good at moving around. And then we get weapon mastery proficiencies. This unlocks specific actions when hitting a target with a weapon of this type. Alright, so with the defense fighting style, I'm probably going for a sword and board style with this character. Wow, okay. There's cool weapon masteries. So what are all of these? We can reduce enemy movement speed with a club. We can get extra attack. We can do it as part of the attack action instead of a bonus action if you have dagger mastery. Super cool. Darts exist in this game, kind of fun. That's something that BG3 obviously didn't have. So let's say we're gonna probably take longsword mastery here. Has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. Alright, well that's amazing. If you hit an enemy with a longsword, you just prevent them from being able to attack back easily. Mace mastery is the same. Morningstar mastery also the same. Okay, so these kind of like one-handed weapons all have a similar setup. One thing that I would like to see called out in the character creation screen here is what type of weapon this is that you're selecting mastery in. Like, I know that a great axe is a two-handed martial weapon, but it should show what type of weapon you're looking at. But I guess let's go with longsword, mace, and morningstar mastery, and we'll just see which of those we happen to find. And then here we can take perception as our bonus skill, and then we already have Elvish on our other character, but I guess let's learn Elvish, and how about Draconic? And that's our fighter. Alright, and for our third character, let's go ahead and jump in, and I think we're going to make a rogue here. So, as a rogue, we get, of course, sneak attack, we get armor and weapons training with... Okay, I like that rogue weapons training has just been simplified to every simple and martial weapon that's got finesse or light. I think so. Every simple weapon and every martial weapon with finesse or light. I think that is a really nice simplification of how rogues work. We also learn Thieves' Cant, and we learn some more language choices, and we get Thieves' Tools and everything. Again, Mastered Tool, Thieves' Tools, which is pretty cool as well. Let's go ahead and jump in. We'll be a halfling here. So one thing that's kind of fun for this game as well that I was noticing looking at the halfling is that the halfling nimbleness feature exists. So this is you can move through the space of any creature that is a size larger than you, but you can't stop in the same space. That's because this game is played on a grid instead of on like open terrain the way the Baldur's Gate is. So your spacing and movement actually matters a lot more, and you're going to be positioning your characters probably much more carefully. But being able to move through your party members is kind of a cool option for this character. Let's go ahead and do some randomization for our halfling here. I really like how so you get randomized body, and you can just get all kinds of different shapes for the character. So it does let you randomize the full body, and then also you can randomize the face separately. I also do like that the halflings just look kind of they actually look fairly different than just being like a scaled down human. Yeah, you know what? We'll go with this. Our halfling is edgy as heck. Okay. Sure, perfect. And you know what? Yeah, sure. Her name is Andre. And then let's go here. So again, we can pick some backgrounds. Obviously, I think the low-life background is kind of a normal pick for the rogue, but it does duplicate some of the things that rogue already gets, because rogue would already get these skills, already get Thieves' Tool proficiency and everything. With sellsword proficiency, you would gain, with the sellsword background, you would gain proficiency with all martial weapons, and you'd get shields as well, which is kind of neat. Vigilant isn't bad either, probably. Wanderer for Savage Attacker is kind of nice as well. This gives you Dexterity and Constitution also as a rogue. So, you know what? Let's make our rogue a Wanderer. And then we'll go ahead and do the auto-selection. We can then boost our dexterity up to 16, constitution up to 16. Even out some numbers here. I probably do want to keep at least some points in strength, just so that we can jump a little bit better on this character. So let's drop our intelligence to 10, and I'll put my strength up to 12, and then I can actually do 13. So what I could do is something like this, and then spend 1 point in each of these to have 14 strength if I really wanted to be better at strength. But let's do 1 point strength, 1 point dex, 1 point constitution. I don't know that these are good ways to set up the ability scores. I'm still obviously learning this system. And there may be more mathematically optimal ways to spread your points. Of course, we're going to take dexterity and sleight of hand on this character, and acrobatics, and then, let's see. So athletics gives you climbing, swimming, and jumping, which this character may need to do. Investigation, also kind of useful. We don't have a character that's good at that, so I think I'll go with investigation for our rogue here. And then, as a rogue, we get expertise in skills, so let's go with stealth and sleight of hand expertise, as you might expect a rogue to have. Another thing it should show you is what your party members' languages are, just so that you can remember this. But let's have our rogue is going to speak Goblin, not Halfling, just Goblin, because we're playing Critical Role Campaign 2 here, I guess. And then we also get Weapon Mastery as well. So if I take Dagger Mastery for this character, we can do additional dagger attacks. So let's take dagger and shortbow mastery, and this lets us gain advantage on our next attack with a shortbow. Light crossbow mastery, it's funny, you have to unclick before the tooltip shows up as well. Okay, when you perform the extra attack granted by your light weapon property, you can do it as part of the attack instead of as a bonus. So again, we could use the... Oh no, that's the light hammer. The light crossbow. If you hit and deal damage to a creature with this weapon, you reduce its speed by 10 until the start of your next turn. That's also a pretty cool option, but let's go with short bows, I think. And then daggers and short bows, and we got... Oh, okay. This was our rogue language proficiency. So we can learn Halfling as well, and let's say that this character also speaks Giant, so we can cover multiple languages. And then, let's go with our last character here. And we'll take a cleric, because we don't currently have a divine spellcaster. We can do a divine order. Okay, you dedicate yourself to the protector, which gives you proficiency with martial weapons and training with heavy armor. Pretty nice. Or we can get extra spell casting. We do have a frontline fighter, but I think I'm going to go with the protector divine order for this character, because having a second character who can actually stand up in the front is going to be pretty good. This will be a human. And as a human, we get versatile, so we get an extra origin feat. Let's go with proficiency in perception. Nice for a cleric, because they're going to have high wisdom. And not being surprised is pretty good for a cleric as well. So I'll go ahead and take vigilant here. Let's see. What gives me wisdom? Lawkeeper gives wisdom. I will say that the background's being kind of limited by actually getting these +1 bonuses to your main stat does kind of take away from potential character creation. Like I couldn't have like an aristocrat cleric without having only 15 or lower wisdom, which I think is generally gonna take away from some options that we could have. What if my character is, let's see, we don't have nature currently. We don't really have any nature stuff. Robust is not bad for this character. We already have vigilant, so we don't need lawkeeper, and skilled we probably don't want either. Philosopher also gives us skilled and gives wisdom. What else gives wisdom? It's just those, right? No, acolyte But this just gives us magic initiate feats, which I'm not that excited by. So let's be an ascetic. And we'll go ahead and do some boosts here. It really wants us to have high strength on our cleric, 14 strength. And as an ascetic, we can boost our constitution and our wisdom, so we can do this. So let's make sure that I take less charisma, more starting constitution. And then we can get 16 con, 16 wisdom. We'll take 14 strength. Our character probably should have at least 10 dexterity, so we're not taking a penalty there, even if we're going to be in heavy armor. And again, I'm thinking that it is likely, because this game rules on a d20 initiative, that you're going to see a lot more character builds that use 10 dexterity rather than always having to go for 14 or 16 the way you do in BG3. Sure, we'll take medicine and insight because we don't have those yet. And then I don't have animal handling either, so I'll get someone to be good at that. I don't speak giant or orc, so that's this character. You're going to be the giant and orc person. I think we don't speak Gnomish currently is the only language that I'm missing. All right, so cantrips. We get Dazzle, preventing reactions. Divine Shield gives 1 round of temporary hit points. Takes your whole action, so I think that this cantrip is not great. Guidance, of course, is usually going to be pretty good. I will say this is cast in advance instead of as a reaction, I think. Maybe it'll still have the interface that it does in BG3, but I liked Baldur's Gate's implementation of guidance a lot, where it lets you cast it in response to making a skill check. Okay. Melee hit. On hit, deals 1d6 radiant damage. The target and each enemy within 5 feet of it can also take an extra 1d4 radiant damage. So this is a higher damaging cantrip, but you need to both make a hit and they have to fail a con save. Light, of course, is going to be good. Now, something that is true, or was true in the first Solasta, was that light sources matter a lot more. Dark vision, light sources, and verticality were something that mattered a lot more in the first Solasta than they did in Baldur's Gate. Stabilize a dying target. Sacred Flame, of course, is good. Light is good. I'm going to try Holy Conduit out, though. It doesn't give this character a good ranged option currently. Wait, why won't it let me... What's wrong here? We have 3 cantrips. It won't let me go next. Why is this grayed out? Alright, I'm a little confused here. Alright, I figured it out. It's because my ancestry feat had become deselected somehow, so I had to go back and fix that. And then we are ready with our last cleric, or our last character, the cleric here, and we can go ahead and start our adventure. So let's dive in to Solasta 2. Waited for the game to finish loading shaders, so now we are here. And we have a bird. You can tell how much symbolism there is in our bird flying against the direction of the flock.
What are they doing?
They're moving the statue to the city. They do it every year for the holy day of Caladar.
That seems like a lot of work.
Is this something to do with Moraike? I told you to pay attention during religious studies.
It is indeed the Redeeming Mother, cleansing the condemned before their execution. Even those who fail to redeem themselves in life are forgiven in death. An uncommon representation of our goddess, but fitting for this day of funerals.
About that, we're running a bit late.
Oh yes, I thought I remembered your faces.
We're from the orphanage.
Yes, of course. You're the children Mother Colwell adopted. You must be going to her funeral. Bless her memory. Mahin was a truly righteous woman.
Thank you, Father. Blessed day of Caladar to you.
I love our character's so ridiculous.
Well, if it isn't good old Landry. Couldn't mistake that mop of red hair for anyone else.
One thing that's fun about this too. Okay, nice. And we've got our all our actions and everything, and you can see we're now in the game. Oh, I like how fast our characters move across the map. Drives me nuts when games don't let your characters move quickly across the like overworld terrain. So I really like this. I really like how fast they are. Yeah, camera control. Let's see. So it's just right click or to rotate, and we can zoom. Cool. So camera controls that you would expect, and we can use Q and E to do it. Great. That's exactly what we're hoping for. Let's see if he has anything else to say. He does not.
Lady of Life will guide you.
Looks like we can't go this way currently. And over here, is there anything exciting? No, nothing there yet. Basically, I'm gonna... Oh, okay, nice. We got loot. This is kind of a... We got a book. Okay, if I hold Alt, it highlights things. It doesn't seem to highlight this guy, normally. I'm hoping that it highlights loot a little better, because the glowies there were not ideal. In terms of just, like, noticing loot on the ground.
Is that really you? The one and only. It's been a long time.
Must be 10 years at least. It's so good to see you. I wish it would have been in different...
Same here.
Alright, I'm going to start skipping some of the dialogue, too, just because I want to get to one of the tutorial fights. Oh no, the bridge is out.
Galavan troops had damaged it, remember? Well, it fell off a couple of years ago.
I didn't know. Haven't been back since I left the orphanage.
None of us have.
We'll never get there on time if we circle around, especially with that storm coming.
Uh-oh. There's a storm.
Come on, let's climb down. We used to do it all the time when we were kids.
Alright. Reach the other side of the bay is our new objective. Something that that the first game did as well is it started really small with like a fairly like small scale, low stakes thing, and then became more high stakes as the story went on. And if you compare that to like Baldur's Gate, which starts really high stakes and then lowers them, you know, you start with the escaping the Illithid ship, and then it becomes this like fairly small scale story about the tiefling refugees. This game starts with a very small scale story and presumably will scale up. All right, so we can jump across here, and we're gonna need to roll dice for these. It doesn't show if we do it in combat. It looks like out of combat we're not rolling dice for this type of action. Kind of cool that it's showing us that we have all this parkouring that we can do. A little cutscene here.
It would have been easier to bury Mother back in town.
Marieke was a big part of her life. She would have wanted to be buried in the old temple.
I hear Rickard is the temple's new solace. He's going to say mass at your mother's funeral.
I guess that's why he called for us. It must be tough for him.
Let's hope he doesn't down a bottle of liquid courage beforehand.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I like that that Landry is like, okay, uncalled for.
Look, the monster's cave. Remember how Mother got mad every time we went down there?
Okay, there's a drop. And we have a light tutorial. Light helps your party to find hidden traps and items they may miss in the darkness. That's why your heroes will automatically use spells and items to light up dark areas. Okay, that's cool. So our characters will automatically use light, supposedly. We do know the light cantrip on our cleric. So why are you not... So I cast it manually there. I don't know if they're... And we can turn it off. Cool. It didn't seem like they were automatically lighting things up. Getting used to the camera controls as well here. All our guys army crawling.
Crabs used to live in there.
Looks like something ate all of them.
Uh-oh, something ate all the crabs. Ah, we got a jute bag.
The old tower, it's collapsed and ended up down here.
And we can get a fish. All right, well, we'll definitely take some fish. Anything else exciting on the beach? So it looks like all the minor loot does not highlight. I am not a fan of that, I will say. I think that in games like this, and same in Baldur's Gate, to really highlight this type of loot. Giant crab pincer, we got some more food, and we got a fishing net. Because I just dislike having to pixel hunt for loot objects. I wonder if there's a setting for that. I'll look into it a little more off stream. And then here we go. So we can push down this wall. Or push aside the wall. Unlock a path through the collapsed tower. And we can do a jump here. And it looks like we're about to get into our very first combat. Ooh, I like the look of that guy.
What are those things?
Well, they don't look like crabs.
Never seen anything like them. Best to be cautious.
Those are
Stay
cool
low,
enemies.
not get past without being seen.
All right, so we're learning about... okay, we got to turn off our light. We're learning about stealth here. While exploring, you can switch to cautious mode by pressing C or the toggle action in your action bar. While in cautious mode, your characters move slowly, effectively becoming stealthy. Your characters are more alert and have a higher chance of spotting traps and discovering hidden objects. While in cautious mode, they have a noise circle. When a foe enters the circle, they'll start detecting. Cool. Whenever foes start detecting your heroes, the detection gauge starts to fill. You need to move to avoid the detection gauge to fill, otherwise your stealth will be broken. The speed at which detection gauge fills depends on many factors, but mostly your stealth skill and the perception skill of the enemy. But be wary of carrying lights, they make you more visible. And it's I do like that it has this little tag here when it shows a homebrew rule. That is a very nice touch for veterans of the tabletop game, just showing like this is something that's going to be different from how tabletop works. I think that's very cool. Okay, let's make sure we're in cautious mode. Send our rogue first here. Sneak by the creatures. Oh, they both jumped into the water.
It's okay. We're good. You can stand up now.
Alright, we can stand up. Jump over here.
Where's Mariah? Those things really gave me the creeps.
At least they've gone now.
We got a lantern. Cool. A magical device. Alright, anything else that I want to...
Remember this beach?
Ah, we've got some kobolds.
What?
Alright, so you can see there's enemies marked on the kobold veteran. Couple, very weakish kobolds. Let's run over here and we'll go get the high ground, probably.
Up there.
So, in the first game, cover mattered a lot. So being able to like take cover behind these walls mattered a lot. And then, let's see, can I use my short bow? Target not sensed. Okay. Cancel. So, there's a kobold over here. So let's wander over to here. Can I shoot one of these kobolds from up top to start combat? I will say the fact that I can't move and select my bow at the same time is pretty annoying. But I can shoot this veteran, 88% chance of hitting, and let's go ahead and do that. This will engage the enemy group in battle, and it will attempt to surprise them. A battle starts. I ambush the enemy. Enemy has been hit. Andre has hit the kobold veteran. Okay, we understand advantage and disadvantage. I will use my sneak attack skill. And so that did 10 damage or 11 damage, killing the kobolds instantly. All right. So then Andre has already used her main action. We can use a magical device, which is just our lantern I could use. And as a bonus action, I could do a healing potion. You can see we're now in a grid here. So, can I go back into hiding? I can't, I'm a rogue, but I don't yet have bonus action hiding. I guess we'll just take cover behind this rock on the rest of our turn. And we'll end... We can't, unlike in Baldur's Gate, you can't swap between moving and between heroes. Your turn order is actually set. So let's go ahead and end turn. And then we've got our fighter here, who can use a bow. Where actually are all the enemies? I will say the fact that it disappears the mini-map when you enter combat is pretty annoying. Okay, so there's one kobold over here. There is... who we can probably just let run towards us on its turn. There's one over here who's near Landry, maybe threatening Landry. And then there's one down the hill as well. Alright, so let's go back and get this one down here. I think there were only 4. So we're going to have you walk to here. Swap wielded configuration is a free action, so we can swap to a longbow. And then can we shoot one of these guys? I can ready an action to shoot with my longbow. So I want to prepare my longbow action until an enemy creature comes within range. So we basically did like kind of an Overwatch. All right, well, Landry just obliterated that kobold. That's pretty nice. Ulmir. Grants the following benefits for 1 minute with your sorcerer spells. Advantage on attack rolls. You can use this bonus action twice per long rest. Okay, kind of cool. And we also have our spells. How do I open my full spellcasting log? I've got Ray of Frost as 1 spell available. But... main action, advanced combat actions, like dodge, dash, and disengage. Okay, here we go. Cast spell. So, Ray of Frost is a 60-foot range. Magic Missile is a 120-foot range. If I wanted to do that, I could do this guy, but he's out of vision range of my sorcerer. So let's have my sorcerer move to there, and you can see it's actually now drawing a line and showing cover. So I could just move one over, and it's drawing a gray line to show that from this tile I can see the kobold, but there's cover in the way. And have him drop down as well and kind of hide. We could stand here, and then there's multiple areas of cover. So let's do this. We'll have my sorcerer move over to here. I'll cast Ray of Frost. And the range is shown by that blue indicator. That's very cool. So let's ready a Ray of Frost. And then Blaine, who is our cleric. When this is enabled, the hero can use their heroic inspiration point to reroll a failed attack roll or saving throw. And let's swap to our light crossbow. Have our cleric move to here. And then can I fire my crossbow at the enemy? Are we within range? So yes, we have an 80% chance of hitting with our crossbow. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. And unfortunately, we missed. With a roll with advantage, we rolled a 9 with advantage. That's funny. All right, and so then we'll end turn and wait for the enemy movement. So they should move forward, and we should get a Ray of Frost shot. 2 damage, and we hindered it, which is kind of cool. So it had to use dash to get close to there. And then this enemy's going to move up and get shot, but we missed. But it also dashed. Alright, so now our rogue cannot get into melee range of this enemy. And could go over to here. We're going to get our full movement, so let's move over to here, and we'll just take a dagger shot, or a short bow shot at the kobold here. And 70% chance. And we can sneak attack, killing this kobold. Perfect. Then I've got my fighter, who can run back over to here and take another shot. Fighter powers action group, so I could use second wind. There we go. But let's just go ahead and take a longbow shot at this enemy. And all the kobolds are dead. Alright, so the combat in this game feels pretty good to me. I love that you can actually take readied actions. Being able to manipulate the initiative order is really cool. Get some loot here. Harvest a blue carnation. Some lootable items in the world may regenerate their contents. This generally applies to plants, but also mineral sources. Typically, harvestables regenerate a variable number of items over a specific period. If you return later, you might be able to loot a couple more flowers from this nice plant. Understood.
We should take a look at this.
Alright, and we found a trap. When you move near a trap, you're granted a passive perception check. On a successful check, the trap is revealed, and the whole party automatically avoids it. Good to know. Makes it much easier to spot. To disarm a trap, you need Thieves' Tools. If you fail your attempt, the trap triggers and your Thieves' Tools break. And the most suitable character is automatically selected to attempt to disarm it. I don't think we need to disarm these caltrops, but I'm going to give it a shot anyways. Wait, it's interesting. Okay, let me read the log. A wisdom check and... Oh, no, we still haven't disarmed yet. Okay, let's try move forward. And then our fighter is actually better at disarming, or as good at disarming as our rogue is. That's really funny. Did we get XP or anything for that? Didn't look like it, but we probably don't need to risk triggering the caltrops and breaking our Thieves' Tools, but disarming all the traps seems good. Let's go into cautious mode and see if we can spot more traps. There's also a chest over here with a poison needle. All right, so let's disarm the poison needle, which we did, and then we can lockpick. And we got the Impossible Alliance. Anyone can read this document, okay? A document about political ties between kingdoms. Cool. So let's loot all of that, and we got 125 gold from this box.
Oh, look, thieves' tools. A bit rusty, but they should do the trick opening that chest over there.
And he found some thieves' tools for us, but we've already done it. Oh, I guess it's this bag, and there's maybe some more stuff over here. 9 gold in this bag. Let's go loot this kobold corpse. I'm still in cautious mode because I want to spot anything that's around this area as well. Oh, there's another corpse. This looks kind of like it might be a secret of some kind, this area under the overhang. But I think we got near enough to it that we'd have seen if it was. And then let's take everything here. Party loot some gold. Alright, I'm going to become uncautious now so we can move around a little faster. And we can inspect. We can go up here and get something. How do we get up there? Our characters just climb. Neat. And we got a studded leather armor for some probably better light armor than our rogue is wearing. Oh no, that's... Wait, is our rogue in heavy armor? Hang on. Did the game put the rogue in heavy armor? No, we were just in leather. Okay. That's good. And so let's change out our armor. Let's replace with the studded leather equip. Cool. All right, I don't mind that interface. I would like to see a better list of our items, but the item grid here is nice. Can we examine? Hey there, stranger. Hope this finds you in time. Been told the Gravekeep's cask is one of your frequent stops. The funeral will be, etc. Okay. But finding an armor upgrade is pretty nice. Dropped pouch. We found an explosive pearl, amethyst, gold piece, and 30 clay, which can be used to craft other items. Crafting is currently unavailable in this version. Will presumably be added in later updates to the early access.
Poor lad. At least
We
they
found
didn't
another explosive pearl.
He's with Marike now.
And then he was telling me about thieves' tools, but I don't see any thieves' tools around. And then I can take a short rest. Okay, so taking a rest, we will do by... I know there was a... Here we go, short rest. Remaining short rests before taking a long rest, 4 out of 4. Okay. Short rest completed. You can spend hit dice to restore hit points, or perform certain actions. So we haven't lost any hit points, but in D&D, by default, you have to roll to recover your hit points. In Baldur's Gate 3, you might be familiar with a short rest just restores half your hit points. But in 5th edition D&D and in Solasta, which is kind of a more faithful interpretation, you're going to have to restore your hit points by rolling dice in order to regain them. And you'll have a number of hit dice that you can spend per day based on your character level to regain hit points. We haven't lost any hit points. We haven't recovered any hit points, so we'll just end rest. But that was a fun first combat. Obviously, against the kobolds, it's not particularly challenging.
You alright?
Okay. Cool. During this dialogue, you'll have to choose one role for each character of your party. Golden Kid, Substitute, Scapegoat, or Top Student. Each role can only be taken once. So, choose the Golden Child. Some family roles match well with certain personalities. It's indicated by a thumbs up icon in the next pages. The Golden Kid was always Mahin's preferred child, perceived as lucky and favored by others. This role is a good fit for a caregiver or hero personality. The Scapegoat was always doing silly things and getting punished. It's good for a jester or outlaw personality. So you can kind of shape your character's personalities and what dialogues they choose based on these roles. That's very cool as well. Alright, well, let's go with Blaine, our cleric, was the Golden Kid.
Mom, I know Marhin adopted you, but I didn't realize you were so close.
So I can make Andre, our rogue, the Scapegoat, or Aravid, our wizard, the Scapegoat, who's like much older than all of the other adopted children here, which is kind of funny. Sure, our rogue is the Scapegoat.
They were always Mahin's big baby. Go figure.
It's true. We had a special bond.
Well, in your own way, you were special too. You were the one who always got punished.
And then we're gonna choose our top student. Oh, we don't have any thumbs up here. All right, we'll just be. You know what? Let's go with. We'll go with our top student is our fighter.
You were definitely looking for it.
And you were always the swotty teacher's pet, weren't you?
Just to break, expectations there.
Guys, come on. It might be a day to remember old times, but don't dig up old quarrels. We know where this goes.
And I suppose that's going to be my fault.
You really haven't changed that much.
All right, everyone, listen up. Let's move. The funeral is at midnight, and we still have to climb that cliff.
Yes, sir.
Hey, isn't that Diorcus?
Oh, and we get to meet yet another person that we know.
It looks like it. What's she doing?
What do you think, dummy? We're burying Mother? Like you, she's grieving.
Our character's
enough.
tattoo
Let's go.
is so
It's time.
so funny for these emotional scenes. All right, so we did a fight, and we sort of looked at the personality mechanics and stuff in this game. So I think that's going to be a great point to call my first look at Solasta 2. I will say this looks very promising. Obviously, the graphics are not as high end, and the writing is kind of getting going at this point. The first Solasta, the story was much more, I would say, like, serviceable than a real highlight of the game, but the combat felt really good, and that's exactly what I'm here for. And the character creation, it seems like even in early access, without all the characters available and everything, there's still a lot of interesting things that we can do with the character creation, so I'm definitely excited to explore this game quite a bit more. I hope that you've enjoyed this look at Solasta 2, and if you have, definitely let me know if you want to see more of this game. I will almost certainly be covering builds for it once I've obviously explored the game a little bit more and know what builds are gonna be good. This is day one, so of course we don't know how to build characters appropriately for the game yet. But if you want to see me, continue this playthrough, or maybe with some more intentionally designed characters, definitely let me know in the comments. If this isn't your thing, then also let me know that as well. It is, of course, very helpful no matter what feedback I get. As always, of course, if you have enjoyed the video, then feel free to leave a like and make any comment. Any buttons you push help me out with the algorithm, so I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Solasta 2 and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.